One of the biggest challenges many IELTS students face is that after learning a new skill, they do not have anyone to practice with. If you have ever felt that way, this series is for you. In this series, you and I are going to practice paraphrasing together using real IELTS questions from the Cambridge IELTS book series. So here, we will have a practical course to help you learn and practice paraphrasing step by step. Together, we will work through hundreds of real IELTS questions, identify the paraphrasing strategies used in each one, correct common mistakes, and build the confidence to paraphrase accurately and naturally in the IELTS exam. But before we begin, I have one very important message. If you haven't watched my IELTS Paraphrasing Masterclass, please stop this video now. I strongly recommend that you watch that lesson first, because in this video I will not explain the 5 paraphrasing strategies again. Instead, we are going to apply those strategies to real IELTS questions from the Cambridge IELTS series. Once you have finished watching the IELTS Paraphrasing Masterclass, come back to this video and complete these practice exercises. Hello everyone and welcome back to IELTS Clinic. It's me, Ali, back again with another practical IELTS lesson. In today's lesson, we are going to identify and analyze paraphrasing techniques using real IELTS questions from the Cambridge IELTS 20 Test 1, including Writing Task 2 and the Speaking Test. So, grab your pen, grab your notebook, and let's get started. Before we begin, if you would like to practice even more IELTS questions and improve your English faster, you can visit the IELTS Clinic website. You will find additional lessons, practice materials, and resources to help you prepare for the IELTS exam. Now, let's get started. Let's begin with our first question. Before you start, I want you to remember one important thing. In this lesson, you are not the writer. You are playing the role of an examiner. So, I'm not going to ask you to paraphrase the question. Instead, your job is to analyze my paraphrase. Here's what I would like you to do. First, read the original IELTS question carefully. Then, read my paraphrased version. After that, I'll give you 15 seconds to think. During those 15 seconds, I want you to answer 2 questions. How many paraphrasing strategies did I use? And which strategies did I use? If you need more than 15 seconds, simply pause the video. Here's the question. Access to clean water is a basic human right. Therefore, every home should have a water supply that is provided free of charge. Do you agree or disagree? Now, here's my paraphrase. Are you ready? Let's begin. Your time starts now. Alright, if you said 2 strategies, well done. In this paraphrase, I used a strategy number 1, choose natural synonyms, and strategy number 3, rebuild the sentence. Let's look at them one by one. Let's begin with strategy number 1, choose natural synonyms. First, I changed basic to fundamental. These two words have almost the same meaning in this sentence. So, fundamental is a natural synonym. Next, I changed every home to every household. Again, the meaning stays the same, but household sounds more natural in this context. Finally, instead of saying provided free of charge, I wrote without paying for it. Different words, but exactly the same meaning. Now, let's move on to strategy number 3. Rebuild the sentence. In this strategy, I changed the structure of the sentence, but I didn't change its meaning. Look at the original question carefully. Access to clean water is a basic human right. This sentence is actually the reason. How do I know? Well, the answer is easy. Simply ask yourself this question. Why should every home have a water supply that is provided free of charge? The answer is because access to clean water is a basic human right. That's why I say this sentence gives us the reason. Now, look at the second sentence. Therefore, every home should have a water supply that is provided free of charge. Now, look at my paraphrase. Instead of beginning with the reason, I started with the opinion. Some people believe that every household should receive clean water without paying for it. Then, I finished the sentence by giving the reason. Because access to clean water is a fundamental human right. So, I completely changed the structure of the sentence, but I didn't change its meaning. This is exactly what we mean by rebuilding the sentence. Before we move on, I would like to answer a question that confuses many IELTS students. Some of you may be thinking, Ali, why did you begin your paraphrase with, some people believe that? The original question doesn't say, some people think, or some people believe, or some people argue that. So, why did you add it? That's a great question. I can answer you by asking you a question. Can we agree or disagree with a fact? Think about it for a moment. Can we agree or disagree with a fact? Let me give you an example. The sun rises every morning. Can you agree or disagree with that? Of course not. It's a fact. A fact is a fact. We cannot agree or disagree with it. Fact cannot be debated, but opinions can. So, what do we agree or disagree with in IELTS? An opinion. Whenever the instruction says, do you agree or disagree? Or, to what extent do you agree or disagree? Or, what's your opinion? The statement in the question represents someone's opinion, even if the question does not begin with the phrases such as some people think, some people believe, or some people argue that. Those words are completely understood. That's why it is perfectly acceptable to begin your paraphrase with some people believe that. Because the opinion is already in the question. I'm simply adding the words some people believe that to make it clear, not to change the meaning. Excellent work so far. Now, let's move on to our second question. This time, we are going to look at a general training writing task 2 question. Just like before, I want you to read the original question and then read my paraphrase carefully. Remember, you're not the writer, you're playing the role of the examiner, and you should analyze my paraphrase. Your job is to identify how many paraphrasing strategies I used and which strategies they are. Here's the question. It is important for children, young adults, working people, and the retired to have at least one hobby. What's your opinion about this? Now, here's my paraphrase. Are you ready? Let's begin. Your time starts now. Alright, let's check the answer together. If you said 3 strategies, well done. In this paraphrase, I used strategy number 1, choose natural synonyms, strategy number 3, rebuild the sentence, and strategy number 4, changing the level of detail. Let's look at them one by one. Let's begin with strategy number 1, choose natural synonyms. I changed important to essential. Both words have a very similar meaning in this context. Now, let's move on to strategy number 3, rebuild the sentence. In this strategy, I changed the structure of the sentence, but I didn't change its meaning. Look at the original sentence carefully. It begins with, "It is important for." Then, at the end of the sentence, we see the main idea, to have at least one hobby. Now, look at my paraphrase. Instead of beginning with, "It is important for," I started with the main idea, having at least one hobby. Then, I expressed the idea of importance by saying is essential. Notice what happened. In the original sentence, the word important appears at the beginning of the sentence, while the phrase have at least one hobby comes at the end. In my paraphrase, I reversed the order. Have at least one hobby comes first, and I changed the word important to essential, and I moved it to the end of the sentence. I changed the order of the ideas without changing the original meaning. This is exactly what we mean by strategy number 3, rebuild the sentence. Finally, let's look at strategy number 4, change the level of detail. Look at the original question carefully. It mentions 4 specific groups of people: children, young adults, working people, and the retired. Instead of mentioning all 4 groups, I replaced them with one more general expression: people of all ages. You may be asking why. Well, because people of all ages already includes children, young adults, working adults, and the retired people. So, there is no need to mention each group separately. This is exactly what we mean by using more general or more specific words. We replace several specific groups with one more general expression without changing the original meaning. So far, we have practiced paraphrasing using writing questions. Now, let's move on to the IELTS Speaking Test. This time, we are going to practice paraphrasing a speaking part 3 question. Let me choose a question first. Okay, let's take a look at question number 3. Here's the question. Do you think theaters need to do more to attract younger audiences? And here's my answer. Well, yes, I think younger people can be attracted to theaters in several ways. For example, theaters could offer more modern performances, provide student discounts, and advertise more on social media. Now, I'll give you 15 seconds. Can you identify the paraphrasing strategies I used in my answer? Ready? Let's begin. Your time starts now. Alright, time's up. Let's check the answer together. If you said 2 strategies, congratulations, you were right. Strategy number 1, choose natural synonyms. And strategy number 5, change active and passive voice. The first one is strategy number 1, choose natural synonyms. In the original question, we have the phrase younger audiences. In my answer, I changed it to younger people. These expressions have almost the same meaning in this context, so this is a natural synonym. The second strategy is strategy number 5, change active and passive voice. Look at the original question. Theaters need to do more to attract younger audiences. Remember what we learned in our paraphrasing masterclass. When we change a sentence from the active voice to the passive voice, we also change the focus of the sentence. In the original question, the focus is on the theaters. In my paraphrase, I changed the focus to younger people by saying younger people can be attracted to theaters. So, instead of focusing on theaters, I focused on younger people without changing the original meaning. This changes the sentence from the active voice to the passive voice, while keeping the same meaning. This is a useful technique because it helps you avoid repeating the examiner's words and make your answers sound more flexible and natural. Remember, in the IELTS speaking test, you do not need to use lots of paraphrasing strategies in every answer. Even using 1 or 2 natural strategies is enough to show the examiner that you have a good range of vocabulary and grammar. Excellent work! Today, we practice paraphrasing using real IELTS questions from the Cambridge IELTS 20 Test 1. We saw how the 5 paraphrasing strategies can help you avoid repetition and make your English sound more natural in both the writing and speaking tests. Remember, paraphrasing is not about changing every single word. It's about expressing the same idea in a different and natural way. The more you practice, the more automatic this skill will become. If you enjoyed this lesson, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you won't miss the next lesson. In the next video, we will continue our journey with Cambridge IELTS 20 Test 2. We will analyze Test 2, practice more real IELTS questions, and learn even more ways to paraphrase like a high band candidate. Until then, keep practicing, keep improving, and I'll see you in the next session. Take care and goodbye.
IELTS Clinic. Simple lessons, real results.
So if we learn how to write one paragraph, it will be easier to write the whole essay.
So it would be 7 plus 4 plus 4 equals 15. Then they divide it by 3. The introduction is like a map for your essay. So thus, therefore, as a result,